My name is Debra Kaplan, and I'm a licensed therapist, lecturer, and author. I work in Tucson, Arizona, and I work around the issues of trauma, attachment trauma, addiction, sex addiction, and issues around money and work. Oftentimes when a client comes in, we may have a presenting problem, and I remember a time a couple came in to talk and they were very angry with each other. They were arguing about children, they were arguing about division of responsibilities in the house, and the wife had said, you know, you husband, you're never around and you're always at your parents' house, and I seem to feel like as if I'm competing with your mother. And all in that moment, the real argument and the distress between them came tumbling out into the room. And the tension that had existed between the husband and the wife, and the resentment that the wife had towards the husband's family, really became evident in that moment. And when we continued to work, what the husband began to see is that his enmeshment with his family, and not necessarily specifically with his mother, but the enmeshment that he had with his family were taking over and invading the space between he and his wife. We talked, and I mentioned to him about the concept of emotional incest, and asked him about if he would be willing to tell me his experience growing up. And he said, you know, Deb, I had a lonely childhood. I didn't have a lot of friends. My family, my parents, I was somewhat of an only child because I had a much, much younger sibling many years later, and that my parents were who I bonded with. But he didn't use the word bonding. He actually said, I don't think I really connected with them. And he said, I didn't connect with them, but I worked hard for them to connect with me. And in that moment, he could feel and express how lonely he felt and how alone his life has been, even while he's married, even in the midst of being around many people. That aloneness seemed to creep up and invade a good part of his being. Enough so that when he said, I can be enjoying my family, I could be having wonderful things happen, but that loneliness and a sense of debt and obligation, almost a fear and an obligation and a guilt to be there for my parents when I am there with my wife and now children. Working with this man and his wife, we were able to put into place boundaries and a way for him to honor what felt important, to be there for his family, his parents, while not avoiding or in any way escaping the intimacy. He had to learn how to create intimacy with his wife because his intimacy was more about allegiance to his parents than it was about love and intimacy for his wife. If you would like to know more about the emotional connection, enmeshment with family, please find me on the web at www.debracaplancounseling.com.